Hey guys, so it's the 15th of July 2020 and my college friends are coming around today. It's going to be Sean, David, Ollie, Jack and Lewis. I'm going to interview some of them today and I think we're going to celebrate Lewis's birthday, so it's next week. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it because I haven't seen some of them for 4 or 5 months. It's incredibly long, it's crazy how long it's been. I'm probably going to play Cards Against Humanity and yeah, I'm going to order Domino's. That's going to be great. So I asked them if they were working and how their work has been affected by the lockdown.
At the moment, no, because I'm having to self-isolate, but normally I work in retail and we had to close at the start of lockdown, but everyone else has gone back. Well, a certain amount of people have gone back, but I'm having to stay away. So to begin with, when we were shut, we lost a lot of money because we don't have an online store. But now that we've reopened, as far as I know, we've made a lot of that money back. So it's been okay.
I am a sales assistant in a card shop for most of the time, and I'm also a teacher assistant at a weekend drama academy, and obviously both were put on hold because of the pandemic. I'm not back at the teaching assistant job just yet because that's still in the balance of God knows what happens, but I am back at my retail job at the moment post the extreme lockdown, as it were. I've been on furlough for 3 months, so it's been nice to get back to work, but at the same time it's still adjusting to a new normal.
So I'm currently not at work. I work at a cinema. I also do freelance camera work, but right now everything's closed down. Cinema's not reopened and there's no film work going ahead yet.
I asked them to give a description of what their day-to-day looks like during the lockdown period.
So because I'm classed as vulnerable, I'm not allowed to really meet up with people. I've only recently been able to meet up with people, so I've not left the house too often until quite recently, so it's been fairly boring. I've been reading a lot, watching films and TV shows, but that's about it really.
Most of the time, depending on how motivated I am, like sometimes I've had video calls for uni because I'm still studying a master's at the uni, and depending on how that's structured, so if I have a video call with them, I'm more likely to get a bit earlier there to talk to them and discuss like what work I have left to do and such. But overall, pretty much I'd end up getting up at I probably wouldn't even get up and dressed until like 10:30. It's really bad. But yeah, it's all about like just after 10ish, and probably even up ready by 12 some days if I really didn't feel like it. But most days it's just get up, the usual, have some breakfast, see what there is to watch really, to be honest, on TV, watch some Netflix and new shows recently. And at the same time, I've also been continuing with my uni work because I've still had that to do. So I haven't been totally bored out of my mind, but at the same time I have to vary out the routine, otherwise I'd get pretty bored after a while.
So during quarantine I spent most of my time indoors, just trying to find anything to do. I do some editing on the side, so I've been editing lots of pictures and video, going through old footage, mostly just sorting stuff out. Did some painting and stuff like that as well, and then played video games.
I asked them if they knew anyone who had caught the virus and how it's affected their lives.
As far as I know, I don't know anyone, but my mum works at an old people's home and I think one person had to be taken away suspected of having the virus, so they might have ended up having it at the end, but I'm not sure.
I don't personally know anyone that's caught the virus. I mean, I've heard from friends of people they've known who have got the virus. I think one of my parents' friends had contracted it. I think like one person that I know has caught the virus, but other than that, I haven't really heard much.
So I don't know anyone who has caught the virus in my life at all. I've heard obviously on the news how it's affected people. I have a friend whose aunt died from coronavirus, so I remember him warning everyone about following protocol and staying indoors.
I asked them if there were any good things about lockdown.
Being able to do the video calls every week have been fun, but other than that, I've not really been able, because I've not been able to do much, there's not really been a lot of fun.
Good things about lockdown, I would say there are lots of good things about lockdown for me. I mean, I obviously, as I said, I'm studying my master's, so I'm able to finish my uni work quite easily in the sense that I had no other commitments at the time when I was on furlough, so I had no real I've got too much distraction, I can't get on with my work during the day. Now I can. I literally had all the time to finish all the stuff that I needed to do. So that was one plus. Other plus sides, I got to, obviously watch TV shows, read books, and go over things that I said I'd get to, but I never quite fully got to. And the other thing is I've started a podcast recently, a film podcast. It hasn't gone out just yet as of the recording of this video, but it's just a real random idea that I was talking to someone about because a couple of my friends gave it a go. They haven't really done much else with it since on their podcast, where they literally just sat around, talked about a load of rubbish and just had fun with it. And I thought, I'd like to try that. And I've given it a go. I'm in the process of finishing it off right now, and I just want to see how it goes, really. So that'll be interesting.
It's given me time to get stuff that I've been putting off done. But other than that, I'm kind of sick of being stuck indoors, so it sort of drives you mad.
I asked them what the most frustrating things about lockdown were.
Not being able to meet up with people, or when everyone else started going back to work and I wasn't able to go, that was quite annoying because I just want to go back and just have a better routine for my day.
For me, I would say the most frustrating thing is the lack of social interaction, because although messaging and social media is very helpful, I still enjoy that being in the same room kind of business, which, with the whole lifting of lockdown measures, it was much nicer to be able to say, even though we're still limited, it's like it was much nicer to be able to see people again. And it's all very well and good that you have like Zoom calls and video calls, you get to see them, but it's not quite the same because you're beyond you're looking at a screen. And I mean, lots of people say that we're looking at screens too much these days. And, the fact that you had to get any social interaction, you had to look at an image on a screen. It was a little bit depressing. There were moments where I was genuinely like, I want to go out. I didn't even want to go to the pub and get smashed or anything like that, like some people have wanted to do recently. But I just wanted to go and see people I wanted to just spend time with, even if it's just sitting there, just them being in the room. I really wanted them to be there, and it was a little bit sad for a while. But the video calls kept me going. So yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say on that.
The most frustrating thing being in lockdown is I can't see people that I want to see. I can't hang out with people. But also, because work and everything is closed, I can't even do what I like to do. Like any short films that were in production have been stopped, or anything that I was doing. So it's just sort of frustrating not to be able to not only do the things you enjoy, but the things you need to do to make money and stuff like that.
I asked them how they thought lockdown was handled by the government.
I think it's new for everyone, so they're doing their best. But I think the only way of really judging it would be if someone else, if this had happened before or it happens again, then we'll be able to compare it properly. But as it stands, we can't really compare it to anything else because our generation hasn't lived through anything like this.
I mean, you're probably going to get a lot of really pessimistic views on it because they haven't done this well, they haven't done that well, and genuinely there are things they haven't done well. There's been irresponsible behaviour on all sides, both from the public and the government, so everyone's to blame in terms of rule breaking. But it's a once in a lifetime, many lifetimes event that we could, it's never happened before. I mean, some people say, oh, what about the, historical cases of plagues and stuff in the past? And I would say, yeah, that's fair enough, but that wasn't exactly, it was documented to some extent, but at the same time, it wasn't. So, yeah, and also every virus is a new virus. So, yeah, I would say in terms of coping, I would say that they've coped well in terms of to get us this far, but they haven't really done their best effort then, shall we say. They haven't done their best to do right by the NHS and any of the other people that have been affected by the virus itself. And it's the constant mixing of messages that I really don't like. I hate the fact that, in terms of restrictions, we're told, oh, you can do this, you can do that. But at the same time, it's like, you're not allowed to do, it's one rule for one person, one rule for another, if that makes sense. Because I feel that you can't really make a rule and then just apply it to certain people. It's really, I don't know, that's what's the most frustrating thing, I would say, is the constant changing of rules without people even thinking about, oh, well, there's a loophole there. People are just going to see the way forward and just go through the loophole. So, it's annoying bad leadership, to sum it up in a couple of words. Annoying bad leadership.
I think the way that the government have handled lockdown has been pretty bad. It took too long for us to quarantine people, get stuff down, stop flights into the country. They were still letting people in weeks after the outbreak. So if they'd have reacted better, we probably wouldn't have had as many cases as we've seen. Also, there's been no laws put in as of yet that to prevent people from going out and basically breaking the 2-meter rule or putting a mask on or anything. No one's really getting done for breaking those rules.
And finally, I asked them how long they thought some form of lockdown was going to carry on for.
I think for at least probably till the end of the year, with some form of distancing, and then it all just depends on whether there's another spike of COVID. If there is, then obviously there'll be another lockdown, but otherwise I don't know.
I would say, I don't know, I want to say till Christmas. I hope this time next year it's over. That's what I want it to be. It probably won't, but who knows. I want the lockdown to be over by then. Maybe we still have restrictions, maybe we have this new normal in place for a while, but who knows. We'll see what happens.
So I think lockdown will probably last for quite some time, at least in some way. So obviously things are slowly going back to normal, but if another outbreak happens, if we get a second wave, then it'll probably restart all over again. So I expect it to last at least for another few months in some form or another.
Hey guys, so this is the end of the video. Here's a clip of us goofing around. But yeah, I had such a nice day today. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already.